And we are live, my friendly acquaintances. Hello there. It's been a while since I've gone live, but I got a bunch of friends with me this time, and that's pretty rare. And I should say friendly acquaintances. So, because I don't really believe we have real deep friends. We have friendly acquaintances. So that's between me and my audience. So anyways, I'd like everybody to go around, introduce themselves. Let's start with Anthony. Go for it.
Yo, what is going on, George? My name is Anthony Miglarino. I am a co-owner of the Fraternity of Excellence, and my goal here today is to make men understand that what we are doing with the mission of excellence, what we're bringing to the table, helping men improve their lives, to change their circles, be surrounded by other men who are motivated, who are disciplined, and really want to do the work to improve, to become a better father, better husband. This is a game changer, right? The community that Zach and I have built, that we're running, the Fraternity of Excellence, along with member Jeff Higgins, it's real. We have meetups in real life. We're doing this event in Charlotte, and it's going to be amazing.
My name's Jeff Higgins. Thanks for having me on, George, to promote the Mission of Excellence Conference. And had an idea to start a conference because I've been in the Fraternity of Excellence for a number of years. Powerfully impacted my life, but more importantly, I've seen it impact so many other men's lives. I want to bring that to the public for people who are not inside the walls of the Fraternity of Excellence. We want to share it with you. So I want you to come to the Mission of Excellence Conference because we've carefully selected a number of speakers who are going to give talks that will be impactful at changing your mindsets, working on some of those limiting beliefs, working on helping you level up as a man so you can get where you want to go. These live events are transformative. I've been to a bunch as an attendee, and I know what works, and I know what to bring to the public to make the most impact. So we're real excited about the event coming up in October, and we're here to share some info today.
You know, like Jeff said, George, it's good to see you. How are you doing? Appreciate you having me on. You know, I'm really looking forward to this discussion. As always, we've shared stages together, meals together, many conversations, many streams, and we're just back at it. And so that's what we do. And that's what I'm looking to do here. So as we come on and we have these conversations, I'm the co-owner of the Fraternity of Excellence, now a co-founder, the brainchild of Jeff with regards to the Mission of Excellence Summit. And the three of us are coming together to put on something beyond the walls of what we have within the fraternity. And so what I mean by that is we've got a private community helping men, but the message, the desire to get that out there and help people, it's got to go beyond these walls. We talk about being the change that you want to see in the world. So we're bringing this to the world. But we realized we didn't get here alone. And so when we're bringing this outside the fraternity, we're bringing men from outside the fraternity onto the stage as well. So not everybody that's going to be speaking is an FOE member. And when you look at that, I think that's the beauty of it, because we're showing how men can work together within their tribe and how they can connect with other tribes. There are a lot of men out there who need help, but they're kind of sitting here. What we're trying to do with this is get them there, to show them other opportunities, other resources, other messages that aren't focused on talking about how you can get to where you want to go, but actually assisting them in getting to where they want to go. I'm pumped to be a part of it, man. I'm pumped to be on here. I'm just pumped to be doing this thing because we're working with men who are moving and grooving. And when you work yourself into the network of men who are performing like that, you can't help but find success and growth in your life.
Yeah, I like it. And for those of you who don't know who I am George Bruno. And of course, this is my channel. And gosh, I do a little bit of everything here. But I'm having these gentlemen on. I was recently invited to speak and to be part of the Mission of Excellence, which is going to be in October in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a one-day, full-day event that I'm actually very, very excited about, as I should be, obviously. And it's, the people that know me know that I've been to hundreds of events, whether it be conferences, retreats, workshops, continuing ed seminars. I mean, by the time I was 40, I had 1,000 continuing ed hours, post-master's degree, which kind of tells you that I'm a continuing ed junkie. I just love learning. If I can shave 2 points off a score of some type or add 2 points to a score, I will take a damn workshop or a seminar to learn how to do it. And so that's something I'm a huge fan of, is just learning all the time. When I had when I was in the real world, so-called real world, and I had 122 employees, I was a hiring and firing manager And I'll never forget hiring people, looking at their resume, and I'd see something like, they got their bachelor's or master's in like 1983 and nothing after that. And I'm like, well, what have you been doing since then? So what I looked for was people where education is a lifelong process. It's, if you tell me you graduated in 1985 from somewhere and I see nothing after that, the only thing that I'm led to believe is that the last time you stopped learning was in 1985. I like to see people who are learning all the time. And those were the kind of people that I hired. And I know I'm operating with men who are always learning, always teaching. And the best teachers are guys that are also learning. So it's not like you get to a certain level and then you've arrived as a teacher, then you never have to learn anything ever again. Today I learned something at the gym. You want to hear what I learned at the gym? I was doing the pec deck, and my biggest gains, I had talked about this on my show earlier. My biggest gains were when I stopped doing bench press. Now, how can that be? Because I hurt my shoulder many years ago. And every time that flat bench was just fucking up my connective tissue, soft tissue, my joints. And to me, that was the end of the world. That's the first thing everybody does, right? You go to the gym, the first thing you do is stack the plates on, lay down, and and just get that bench. And then I had to learn to live without the flat bench. And I went to pec deck, a chest press where the movement ends. It starts here and ends in the middle, which is nice. And then incline dumbbell chest press. And I was getting some gains. It was really nice. I felt like, okay, I totally didn't lose because, when you're eliminating the mother of all exercises, I think, in my opinion, was the bench press. And when I could no longer do bench press, I thought, oh my God, I got to do like these pussy exercises now. And I learned one little tactic that just changed the pec deck for me, and that is to bend my arms at a 45-degree angle as opposed to pretending I'm flying with my arms straight out. And the one little hack that the trainer said to me, he goes, pretend you haven't seen somebody in a long time and you're going to go give them a big hug. He goes, that's the movement. In other words, like when you go to grab, you kind of, you do this. He says, that's the pec deck motion, is this, the big hug. He goes, so when you do pec deck, do big hug. 63 fucking years old and I learned something. Give somebody a big hug. And that made, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try that. I did it, got a nice pump, and I'm like, wow. And it didn't hurt my shoulders. Because when you're on that pec deck and you're at that starting and that starting point where it's kind of like way back, and you just know you're like that far from pulling something or hearing something pop like a damn rubber band. For me, that one little piece of advice changed my chest workout, completely changed it. Do the big hug. Do the big hug. And I'm like, wow.
I'm going to put that hug to test when we see you in Charlotte. I'm going to put your hug to test when I see you in Charlotte, brother.
All right. Yeah, well, hey, I'm all about that, man. So anyways, leveraging one little piece of information changed my workout. Rather than feeling like I am deprived and like I'm missing out on the bench, because, you got to realize we get very emotionally attached to our exercises. We get emotionally attached to the way that we do things. And for a PT to tell me saying, I don't think the bench press is going to be a good thing for you to continue. And I'm like, it's like you're asking me to like give up one of my children or something like that. Because damn it, I love my bench press. Well, son of a gun, I think I found a replacement. I feel good about it, but I leveraged it and it feels great. And it's doing everything I want it to do. And I feel the same way about the men's development arena, just like learning one damn little thing. One little thing just changes the game for me. One little thing, one little way to respond to a loved one, one little thing to suppress this mouth when I'm tempted to say something. one nice thing to say to somebody that could make their day, rather than trying to make my own day and just waking up and just everything I do for me. Sometimes it's nice to do things for people with no reward, with no acknowledgement. You just know that you did something nice for somebody. And I find that in the, what I would call like the positive men's development arena, we're developing a generation of men who they care about themselves, because you got to put that oxygen mask on yourself. When you are healthy, when you are strong, everybody else benefits. We've heard the phrase, a rising tide raises all ships. And I think that's what the men's development arena is all about, is helping men in general, but it starts with helping yourself. What do you think, Anthony? What do you think of that?
You're on mute.
I agree. Dogs were acting up. But no, I agree, brother. And I have a special set of skills that I'm looking to bring to the table. I talk a lot about parenting and fatherhood. And, there are things that we're going to learn in this event. It's more than just coming together as men and sharing and being honest and having good conversation. Like you said, it's about learning. It's always about self-development, acquiring self-knowledge, and really expanding our minds on what it looks like, what it means to be a good man, to be a good leader in our home. And again, I talk about parenting. So a lot of my speech and a lot of my advice is going to be to create inner peace, so we're not lashing out and being reactive with our kids. So we can build a home that's peaceful, that's enjoyable. And to me, that is the number one way that we raise the next generation to be strong, powerful, to be deliberate in the actions they take with going out and forging their own path and creating their own good lives. But like you said, it starts with us. If we're not doing it as fathers, as men in the home, our kids are going to have a tough time. And that's going to get passed down to society, to communities. And we're up against tough times right now. That's why we need to do this mission. That's why we need to get on stage and we need to speak. We need to bring men together, and we need to be able to speak our truth and have other people understand how important that fatherhood is, but also just being a good man in general.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Anthony, a quick question. What if there's guys out there who don't have kids? How do you apply that if you're not a father yet? Or let's say life has turned out in such a way where you don't have offspring. How does the peaceful father's concept apply to a man who doesn't have offspring or may never have offspring?
So I would say, it's and a lot of peaceful parenting is living with those principles, being able to give them to your offspring. But if you don't have kids, first thing I would say is plan on finding a good woman and having some kids. we need more savages and young sons and daughters out there who are really going to go out and set their way in the world. But men like Zach and Jeff, we have Steve Maeda, Brendan Murata, Jerry from the Men of Grit. He's going to be speaking. So it's not just going to be me talking about parenting. There's going to be a lot of different angles covered, a lot of good men on stage speaking about what you just described, how to do it, how to take action, and how to succeed and get results.
That's great. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Jeff Higgins.
Here for you. I'm ready to jump all over that, because I was listening to your story about, learning different exercises, and there's so much to take from that. You mentioned 63 years old. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not learning new things, it's the beginning of the end. So what you mentioned, it's so powerful. If you learn one thing, was it worth your weekend? It sure was, but you're going to learn a lot more than one thing, because our speakers come from a variety of different backgrounds. My background, I'm a real estate investor. You're probably going to hear something from me about finance. Maybe you take one thing and apply it to your life, and it makes a big difference. And then you learn something from Anthony about parenting your children. Like, I've learned many, many things talking to the man over the years. You talk to Zach and you figure out what's going on inside, and you build up your self-confidence. I'm not sure we're charging enough for these tickets now that I'm thinking about it. This is going to be a powerful event for those that join us. So it's the information on one hand, but then it's the integration we meet people. I'm not just going to be up there on stage talking. I want to shake hands. I want to hear what you're dealing with, and I want to talk it out with you. Like, I love meeting people. I love meeting people that come to these events because you've just told me you're a person looking to improve your life. You want to level up, and that's who I like to deal with. That's who I like to meet. So I'm really looking forward to October. I can't wait to be there.
It's awesome. Zach.
George, how you doing? You know, looking at just the discussion we have going right now, it's interesting because oftentimes people will look at conferences or summits. It's almost like, well, you go there if you need help. And they're like, well, I don't need help because I'm successful. Everyone can use input from other men. Everyone can level themselves up in other areas. And so one of the things that I love to do is to see the man who comes in there so confident about the one area he's crushing it in and likely is crushing it in. But then I point out the area he's ignoring so what's happening at the expense of that growth. And so, Jeff, I believe that you had a post on this about the fat rich guy or the poor jacked guy. They're both working on the same thing, but hitting it from the other side. But what if you had a full look at it? What if you could be that optimized man who could see every side? So you're the guy who makes the money, but you're not leaving it to children who are going to destroy your legacy. You actually made the money, and then you're going to pass it to children that you're integrated with and live a life with a woman that you're leading and having a successful relationship with. And by the way, you're healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. And so we're looking at this, not as the angle of, this is for the men who are on level 1. There are level 10 men who might be level 10, level 10, level 10, level 4. Well, let us help you at that level 4 and help you get that to where you want it to be. Because if you're one of those go-getters who's out there and crushing in certain areas, it doesn't have to be a this or that. And all three of us have proven, when we're coming into this discussion, through our work within the Fraternity of Excellence, you can be excellent in every area. But to hit those areas that you can't see, somebody else has to point it out to you. And so that's what we're looking to do here. We're going to have different men on this stage. We mentioned Steve Maeda, Murata, Jerry Adams. They're going to be on the panel outside of what you see right here. They're going to be talking about something totally different. A lot of us see things, all of us honestly see things differently, but a lot of us will come at the same target, just a perspective off, a degree off. Well, if you do that enough times, if you make your network that expansive, you got the 360 degrees. Now you can see life full spectrum, and you can make better and more informed decisions. And that's what we're looking to do, man. And when we're talking about what Anthony was saying about speaking your truth in this, a lot of men know they've got good inside of them, and they generally want to do well. They don't know how to share that truth, though. Like, what does that mean? Like, I want to be a good man. I work hard. I love my family, but what's next? And that's where we help men find their voice. We help them see, like, hey, here's how you can bring this to your community. Here's how you can bring this to your job. And we help them bridge that gap to where now that fire inside, it can light up that area. And now that's impacting others. And now you've got coworkers who are fired up just like you're fired up. Now you've got through youth sports, Jeff and I, we both coach our kids. So in there, we're setting that example for those other children. We're lighting those fires in them. And so what we're looking here, it's not just the one guy who needs the help because he doesn't have anything together. We're looking to help every man. This is for men looking to be better. And that's whether you're at level 10, 1, or in between.
Oh, he got me fired up.
Yeah.
You should see it live.
It seems like, where one man lacks, another man is strong. When it comes to things like losing weight or something like that. Let's just pick a common thing that men, like for me, I can almost like lose weight at will. Like on a dare, like someone says, I dare you to lose 10 pounds. I can drop 10 pounds in a week, like no problem. I know exactly what I need to do. So that's not a difficult thing for me. Now ask me something else, throw down the gauntlet on something else, like dare me to make 20 grand in the next week. I'm like, I need to make some phone calls on that one. I'll never forget my coach when I told them, I think I had shared with you guys something where I said something like, I want to make $1 million in a 12-month period. I want to compress the time in which I make that kind of money. And, over a period of a lifetime, that's doable. 12 months, you got to operate a little bit differently. It's like I heard, I guess it was Ryan Daniel Moran. I think, Anthony, you are familiar with him from My First Million. And he had a guest on, it was a lady who has a coaching business. And she says going from like 100,000 to 120,000 a year is just a matter of working more and working harder, more hard, more hard. But going from making 100,000 to making 1 million, it's not about working harder. It's not about working more. It's about the systems you have in place. And for me, that hit me, boom, right between the eyes right there. It's about the systems. I didn't have systems. And so I am seeking out men who can help me create systems so I can systematize my earnings rather than just working harder. Because any idiot can work 80 hours a week, but how long can you operate at that pace before it wipes you out and kills your relationships and ruins your sleep and everything else? It's about the systems. So that's one of the things that I'm looking for with the mission of excellence. Now, one of the things that I teach is I have a 25-point thing. I'm not sure exactly what I'll be speaking on, but I know one of the things I want to talk about is creating your own executive presence. And that means different things to different people. Executive presence isn't just how to tie a tie, how to comb your hair, and how to stand at a networking event. There's 25 different things that I put together that'll teach a man how to transform himself the next time he's with a group of people, to be taken more seriously, to everything from to creating more deals, making more sales, to getting the girl, so to speak. And I know this is not a getting the girl conference, and I'm kind of done with the get the girl kind of conferences. But this is not that, is it, Zach? This is not a.
Listen, here's the problem with that, George. When you start to level up, you're going to get the girl. You're going to find yourself being a better product as a man. I almost said it, but I was like, I don't want to interrupt, but 100%, the focus is on the development of you. It's not on the exterior. It's not on the outside. It's not on the chase. It's on you building yourself to being that thing where life really is better when you're dialed in. And what I love about this, and you actually taught me this, when you're one call away, you're a friend away, that stuck with me and has always stuck with me, because when you build that network, I'm less stressed. I'm less stressed across my entire life, because even the things I know I don't know, I know that I'm a call away. So if I don't know something, George, I'm like, hey man, what do you think about this? If I knew that I didn't have a network, I didn't have friends, I didn't communicate with men, and I was like this and things went south, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Now that sense of doubt and concern as to whether I can handle this creeps in. Now I'm mad at me. I'm lashing out at my wife. I'm stressed with my kids. I'm short-tempered. I'm maybe insecure about myself. All that happened because I didn't have someone to reach out to. But dude, if I hit a wall, Anthony, what do I do? Jeff, how would you do this? Dude, it makes it so much easier for me to just be a more carefree and focused man. So connecting with other men, to me, like I said, making yourself that kind of product and world, you do become more desirable to everything, to include life. Life is better for the man who's connected and integrated with himself through and through.
I want to jump on that for a second, because that was one of my main motivators for the conference. Is no one really knows what's going on inside the Fraternity of Excellence. Like, people don't even know that these types of groups exist and what they can do for you as a man, because we do have areas that need improvement, and we gain so much by having people holding you accountable to what you're working on. Not superficial stuff, but who will actually tell you the truth. Like, think about your 5 best friends. Let's say you gain 15 pounds. Do they want to bring that up and talk to you about that? They don't necessarily, because it's hard. It's hard to have the serious conversations. But being involved in a group with men who are authentic and strong, we keep each other accountable. And that, I can't even tell you how powerful that is on a consistent long-term basis to getting you moving in the right direction, to all of a sudden you are this integrated man. You become what you want to become.
No, it's well said, Jeff. And I would say a big part of this conference, and even within the Fraternity of Excellence, is it's always the quality over quantity. That's what my mind goes to, right? We can all go out and make friends and have people that we surround ourselves with, but think about how much time, and I look back on my life with people who are not pushing me or motivating me to be better, right? You can be surrounded by people and still be lonely. And I think a lot of men suffer from that, right? They're doing things or acting in ways just to be surrounded by people who don't care about them, And that's exactly what we're fighting against. When you come to this event, we want you to be yourself. I want to see who you are. I want to know what you're going through, because I can guarantee you that one of us four right here have gone through it. We've had to overcome it. And we did it not by being around shitty people, but by saying, hey, I deserve more in life. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to do something that's good for me because I care enough about myself. Because when you don't care about yourself, you're surrounded by other people who don't care. And that is something that I keep trying to instill in my kids as they grow and they get older. I want them to have enough dignity and self-respect to actually, we say men do hard things, do the work. I want them to work on themselves. And that's going to be reflected upon the good people that they bring in their life. That's where I see this event taking a lot of men. If they come, they invest in themselves, they take the time, and they understand what's happening.
I like that. Great answers. It just occurred to me. I just want to let the audience know we all did not agree to grow beards for this. This is not, I know it looks like a beard conference. And you don't, gentlemen in the audience, you don't have to have a beard to attend this. Just want to let you know. So you don't have to. It probably wouldn't hurt, but you don't have to have one to come to the conference. It's a one-day event. Zach, tell me about the one-day event.
So look, as Anthony was saying, it's not about the quantity. We want to get you in, hit these points, and get out. Oftentimes, people get lost waxing and waning about themselves and the intricacies of this. The focus here is the simplicity, and there's beauty in that. We're direct with our message, and so each of the speakers will go up. They're not going to go on for an hour and 45 minutes. They're going to go on. They're going to just a straight shot. Instead of just spraying against the wall and you can find the holes, they're going to give you a direct message. And that's how we wanted to run this. We wanted this to be clear and concise, because the focus here is not so much the speeches and the content that we can create there and put everything there for you to have. It's on what you're going to take from this and how you're going to apply that in the real world. For us to give you that, you need to have a very clear message, because you're going to be getting hit with multiple messages. And so with each name, Zach Small, intensity, Anthony, peaceful parenting and fatherhood, Jeff, whatever he's talking about. Like, as we go through these things, you're going to have a man and a takeaway from him, a man and a takeaway from him, instead of a man. And I kind of forgot what he said because there was so much said. More isn't always better. And in this one-day event, we're looking to maximize our time on this stage to be as efficient as possible, and then to sit and focus on connecting with the men. And so when I walk off that stage, I will be with every man in attendance. I will be there talking to them. That's where the extra can come in. I don't need to put that into my message on the stage. When you have a question about family, marriage, sobriety, possibly creating online, whatever it is they want to talk to me about personally, we can do that off camera. We can do that one-on-one. You're having it, I'll have a seltzer, they can have a drink. We can sit, grab a cigar. But the point is, I'm going to go on that stage to give you the message that you need to hear, or that I would like you to hear, to share how I've had the success that I've had. And then from there, let me give you the building blocks to building it on your own. And so to me, I really like the one-day strategy there. And we're looking to have, it's not just the stage. After that, we'll have an event. And so it's not, come on in, listen to this and leave. I want a lot of off-stage connection, growth, communication, networking. Because as I said, we have the Fraternity of Excellence. And as Jeff said, we're doing such great things. One of our speakers is Jerry Adams. That man's over 50 years old. He just won a physique competition. He just published a book. He's launching that. He's taking pre-orders now. The man is crushing in every area of life. We helped him do that. He wasn't always like that. That's an FOE success story. Nobody has any idea that happened, because we're so focused on connecting with our men that we don't really advertise it. We don't bring it to the public. And that's where Jeff came in and he said, hey, we're doing a disservice to our fellow man by not sharing this. It's like we've got the secret sauce and we're like, you can't have it. You know what Burger King did with their secret sauce? They fed it to the whole world. Now, we're not fast food. We're pretty anti-fast food if we're anything. But looking at that, we're looking to give that little elixir of what we found that works, and we're going to share that with everyone. You don't need 5 days. You don't need a week-long conference. You don't need, 45 courses to go through. Sit there, pay attention, get your notes, and connect. The most important thing is the connection, and that's where our focus will be.
I like that a lot. Everybody has a system that they use. Speaking of Jerry, he didn't just roll the dice and get to where he is. It wasn't just luck of the draw. It was he needed other people's input. There was a system that he used in the same way that I talked about making a certain amount of money. It's not about just working harder and working more. It's about having a system and the way that you do it.
When you look at that, and you look at Anthony and Jeff and myself, we all hit success mentally, physically, spiritually, with our families, with ourselves, being integrated men, totally differently. And so when you look at that, you're talking about the systems. The beauty of that is my system would not work for any of you men, and your system wouldn't work for me. But I could take some of the parts that are making your system work and then upgrade that in my system. And so that's kind of how I see it playing out. I have to do the Zach's way. It's the only way it works. But if I take a piece of Anthony, I take a piece of Jeff, I take a piece of George, put them into the key areas of my system, and now it's working even better. It's still Zach's way. The product is the one Zach wants, but I've got men to help me produce that. And so when men come in here, I don't want them to think that the goal is for you to leave as a clone of us. In fact, if that would not work, because you would always be the second best us. You'd be the second best Jeff because he's the number one. Second best Anthony, second best George. But you could be the number one you. I want to roll with the top number one guys. I want to help you be your best. And when I look at their systems, and this is literally happening now. I just got off a phone call with Jeff. We are working to better integrate ourselves to continue that growth. It's always about working together and seeing how can we take this further. And that means maybe it's getting better connection with your children. Maybe it's improving your financial situation. Maybe it's improving your marriage. Or maybe it's going back and improving your relationship with yourself. Whatever it is, we have had to go through it in our own way. You will be able to connect with and best jive with one of us to make your system better on your own, to become your best product, which is you.
Excellent. What does this cost a man? Let's say there's a guy watching this right now and he says, you know what, that sounds like something I want to become part of in Charlotte, North Carolina. What's it going to cost him?
The ticket price is $399 for the conference all day in the after party. But on your channel today, if they use the code Bruno2023, they will get $50 off of that price. So $349 to change your life.
Nice. I like that. I'll tell you what, I've been to so many retreats and conferences and seminars, you name it. I've been to so many different things. And a lot of times it's information overload. The reality is when you start getting into like 3 and 4 days, it's just information overload. And how much can you really apply? And how much can you really connect with somebody? And I like the idea that, in the men's development area, a lot of times people talk about genuine desire amongst males and females. And I think a lot of times when it comes to men, we scan a room as men. I think that's just what we do. Every normal man just scans every room. I walk into a restaurant and I just do kind of like a robot scan of all threats and anyone who could be a friend or a threat. I don't know, but maybe I'm one of those back against the wall seated kind of guys. Walk into a restaurant, I want the seat against the wall. I don't know, maybe that's part of my upbringing or something. But when it comes to,
they call that programming.
Yeah, it is. When it comes to desire, there's certain people, when I look at their success, I know that I need to get to know them. I need to introduce myself to them. It ain't going to happen by itself. I'm not just going to absorb the vibes, the success vibes, the muscle vibes, whatever. I have found that, like in the workout world, physical fitness world, people are not, like a newbie might think, well, no one will share anything with me. No one will tell me what they're doing. When in reality, at the gym, the people that are serious are more than willing to help someone, to help a newbie. And, some guy might say, I'm really not sure if I'm doing this right. Do you think maybe you can help me? Be careful, because you're going to get a stampede of 3 guys coming over, helping you and giving you tips and things like that. And I find that the men's development community is the same way. Everybody has a need, and there's so many people that just want to help you. That's what I'm finding. They want to help you. And I get that same exact vibe from the Fraternity of Excellence, that people want to help. You know, there are times where I have just kind of eavesdropped on some of the video conversations that you guys have. And, you know, I'll just find a place and sit there and not even put my video on and just let my emoji sit there. And someone will say, "Oh, Bruno's in the house." I'm like, "Oh shit, they found me." You know, and then next thing you know, I'm getting engaged. I don't want to say whether I like it or not. I'm actually happy about it, but the engagement is incredible. And there's no peacocks running around. There's no superstars or anything like that, and I kind of like that. I mean, except Anthony. Anthony's got kind of like that superstar kind of vibe about him, you know. But
Anthony's got literal peacocks running around his house.
Around my yard.
So we have literal peacocks running around Anthony's yard. Oh, that's pretty wild.
It is wild.
George, one of the things you brought up there that I want to hit on too is that a lot of men hold back asking for help, but what they're actually doing, they're preventing the man who wants to help them from developing the skill on how to help men. And that's something that we stress frequently in FOE is as men join, they're the new guy. And then you're there for a while, then more new men join, and now you're not the new guy anymore. But the men who helped that original new guy, they'll often still help the newer guys that come in after him. And so what we start to see there, though, is that guy starts to look down. He's like, you know what? I've been here long enough to be a leader in this space. I actually have something to help this new man with. And so now they're developing their leadership skills while still learning and following those other men. That goes to an infinite. The men at the very top crushing it are still learning, and they're looking to help the next man. And so as co-owner of the community, there are many times in many discussions, I'm in a follower role in a certain discussion because I don't know about that thing. I'm learning, be it a fitness question, financial growth. I'm going to sit and watch these men do this. And like, how do you do it? There are many times Anthony's talking about fatherhood. I'm the family alpha, and I'm learning from him. Now, I consider myself the top dog in this still. But, you know, when we talk about the round table, that's what we call our FOE meetings. It's we're all sitting there, but somebody's at the head in that discussion. And so whoever that head man is, he's developing his leadership skills to help these men learn and develop these systems on their own to be better men. But the very next day, the next hour, he might be sitting down listening to that other guy do the same. So to a degree, not asking for help or not seeking advice, you're robbing your fellow man from developing themselves in the same process. Your asking for help helps them learn how to lead better. So we've got to be able to work together and sort of get out of our own way here. Actually, you have Ed Woodstock in the chat. He's one of those men who's helping men. He understands the importance of leadership and followership. And we see that play out over and over and over again. But as much as we see that and we're positive with the group that we've developed, there are many men who never do it because they don't want to look dumb. They don't want to sound like an idiot. They don't want to admit, I'm a grown man who has kind of childish questions because they never learned it because their father wasn't around. But now they don't know how to ask it because they feel dumb for being a man who doesn't know how to tie the tie. He doesn't know how to speak to his children about certain subjects, but he's supposed to be the man. And so if we can eliminate that barrier, and I think the best way to do that is to show these men you're actually helping your fellow man by asking this question, we will find more men opening up and allowing themselves to be in that position to where they're admitting they don't know what they don't know, but being comfortable with that.
It's funny. We're talking about a lot of like 10,000 foot view stuff about mindset and overall being a better parent. We're not even diving into the specifics. If you jump into an FOE call, the actionable advice is incredible. I mean, George touched on desire. We have a sex and relationship call every week where I've seen men go from unsatisfied marriages to thriving marriages. And it's not the exception. I've seen this happen over and over and over. We have finance calls specific to actionable finance. How do I work on this debt? How do I tackle this income? So the mindset is the most important. The 10,000 foot view and becoming the man who is capable of the things is the most important. But we don't ignore the specifics. It's very practical as well. It's tough to convey in a short stream, but I wanted to throw that in there.
I like that. What happens after the event? Let's say that the Saturday comes and goes. What can men expect in their lives after this one-day event?
That is largely on the man themselves. We can throw you the rope and you have to grab it. And that is up to you to grab the rope. We're going to give you a lot of information, hopefully some inspiration. Hopefully we have a friendship or a relationship, but that's up to you to develop. I'm not going to be knocking on your door and chasing you down to do it. There will be an invitation to join us, of course, in the fraternity, which I strongly recommend you take that opportunity if the message resonates with you, which I'm confident it will. But you're there at the conference. You have a great opportunity, but then the ball is in your court.
Yeah. I would say that they can expect after the event to walk around life a lot lighter, right? They're going to be dropping a lot of baggage, a lot of bullshit that they've been holding on to their whole life. So I think that's one immediate advantage that you're going to have. You start to live authentic. You're talking about programming before, we joked, but our lives have been filled with rewards and punishment. That's how we operate, right? We want people to accept us. We want people to like us. When you can be authentic and you leave that event, you see men on stage who are giving their real message, giving you their heart, letting you know what they feel, what they think, who they are, right? Free man. And you can go out. You don't need permission from anybody anymore to go out, live your life, and be who you want to be. And then you have the tools, the resources, the network now to reach out to other men who went down that path. So that's what you're going to get when you leave.
Yeah. Zach, what do you think?
I wasn't sure if you want to jump on that.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going. I've been riffing for a little bit here. So looking at that, one of the main things I would say is you don't have to wait until after the event. If you were to join FOE today and start rolling, when the event showed up in October, you would see men that you knew. Like you'd walk into this knowing a bunch of men. There's a bunch of men that are going from FOE. And so you're going to see a bunch of dudes who are like, hey, what's up? And like immediate friendship formed or shown rather, because through the Zooms that we have, through all the calls that we do, through the opening up that we have, it accelerates the friendship. And that's what I brought to this from the military angle when we founded fraternity, is there has to be an accelerant. The reason men in boot camp get along so quickly is because we suffer together. We're honest with each other. And it's like, dude, we're all in this suck, in this same hole, in the same grind together. We might as well work together to make it happen. And so that's that essence was brought into FOE. And so that's why you see such rapid friendships form, because you get to be the real you for once in your life. You don't have to put on a show. You don't have to pretend that you've got it all together. You can be honest and say, hey, my features, my flaws, I think I got that from you, George. You show them both. You let them both out there. And they get to see you for who you are, not who you pretend to be. You don't have to appear successful. We're going to help you become successful by addressing your weak points. But then we're going to have the event. So cool. You get to see the guys. You get to talk to us. As Jeff said, it's on you. If you come up to me and we jive and we're working together and you want to build something, go somewhere, you align with the message, hey, shoot me a text. Let's hang out. Let's keep each other accountable. Let's go forward. As you grow in this area, I want my network to grow too. And so we had a kind of a proof of concept where we had 20 men showed up. We put on a presentation. We were talking about what it was we're doing, where we were going. Multiple men from that event I speak to daily. Now, let's bring that to this. The actual convention is going on. That's only going to get bigger. My life is going to get better. And now the men that are in there that are looking to figure out some things I already know, those men are going to have that same accelerant right before them. They're going to take that. They're going to bring that home. And for once in their life, instead of just winging it and saying, I don't really know where I'm going, they're going to have a compass. They're going to at least know, all right, this is the direction I want to go. I spoke with those men. I got a game plan. I've got that vibe, that you get when you meet others and you're motivated. I'm going to go in this direction. If they join FOE, the accountability just maintains. If they don't, they've got that connection, that network, and those messages to start to apply. And as they apply it, they get the consequences, good and bad. And then they adjust and pivot as they go forward. But they at least have a compass to know where it is they want to go. And so when you leave the event, you actually know who you are and why you want to be, where it is you're going. Like, why do you want the money? Why do you want the relationship? Why are you the man that you are? When you can tap into that and start to answer those questions, it becomes a lot easier to execute on it. You don't drag ass when you wake up. You're pumped to go to work because at that job, I can make the money to go where I want to go here. You don't get stressed out when your kid's like, I want to play catch, or your wife is nagging about something. You know how to deal with her. You know how to deal with the kids, and both of those charge you up. Your life becomes a lot more enjoyable when you have a direction that you're bringing it. That's what we're offering here. We're giving you some data points and different logistics to help you get to where you want to go. So you take a piece of us, you bring that home, and you're a better man because of it.
What would the Mission of Excellence one-day conference have to offer a guy that's over 50, over 60?
Jerry Adams.
A lot. I mean, if the guy wants to learn, if the guy is still growing, if the guy is not ready to end it, there's a lot to learn. I mean, that again is up to look in the mirror, George. What you're just learning pec techniques, and you can learn techniques in your 60s to improve all of the above. You know, fitness, your relationships, finance. The game's not over until you decide it's over.
You know, when you look at age, one thing that stands out to me too, there are 20-year-olds that I'm learning from today. I'm 36 years old. There are texts in the chat. There are men that are over 60 that I'm learning from. I'm taking lessons from each of these men because it's not the number near their name. It's not their age. It's their experiences. It's their mindset. And so your age is almost in a moot point. There are certain things that change with age for sure that you've got to kind of factor in or deal with. But your age means nothing to me, similar to your skin color, similar to your faith. Those don't matter. It's the mindset. And so whether you're older, you're younger, if you attend this convention with the right mindset, you're going to grow as long as you're open to learning and being a better man. Now, those who are stuck in their ways saying, well, I'm older than you, so I've got it figured out. Man, that's not how this works. If that's what you believe, you're stunting yourself from growing. Because my age, I'm learning from my son. He's 13 years old. I'm learning from some of these baseball players. These boys are teaching me things as a man. And so who would I be to say, well, I don't need to learn from you because I'm older? Their insights are going to make me a better man. You know, those older than me are passing on lessons that maybe I didn't learn in my era of growing up. So they're teaching me things I was never even exposed to. And so to me, the older gentlemen that are coming into it, as long as they're still hungry and if they're listening to you, they're still looking to get after life, you know, because they wouldn't be here if they weren't. They wouldn't be on this stream. They wouldn't be watching this video if they weren't looking to keep growing. That's what we're offering, an opportunity to keep growing. Age is irrelevant, though.
You know, a lot of people in the past several years have equated me with manosphere type of events, and I have made a conscious decision to move away from the manosphere. And actually with the help of Steve Maeda, who was wonderful and helping me reframe that whole mindset into being the men's development arena versus manosphere, which has had some success and then also some questionable things associated with it. I like the idea of men's development. I like that. And for my audience, I have moved away from manosphere type of things and no longer wish to be associated with that. I've taken the, what do they say? Eat the meat and get rid of the bone, that kind of thing. I have benefited in many ways from it for a finite period of time, and it served its purpose. And for me, the purpose is no longer there. So I like the idea of developing. I'm not now sailing into home plate. I still have things to do. I still have muscles to develop. I still have things to accomplish and things to conquer. And by no means am I considering myself slowing down. I'm only ramping up more and more. And I felt like that I was, sometimes you just need to, what do they say, put away childish things and move towards more adult things. So for me, it's not about notch count. It's not about, you know, making myself like the top alpha of the room and this kind of stuff like that. I like all of that stuff. I could really care
you
less.
Could try.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think, Tex says pipes to smoke. Yeah. So many pipes, so little time. I know. But as far as growth is concerned, not unlike you, Zach, and what you guys have said, most of my mentors are either out or on their way out. So I had to kind of like do a U-turn and start looking at younger, because most of the guys that I looked up to, like I said, they're dead or they're on death's bed, and I love them to death. But as a guy who is a fan of lifelong learning, where do I go now? I have to go younger. So I have to look at guys that are 30 years old, 35, 36, 40 years old, and see what they're doing. Because techniques are different. I didn't get my first computer or cell phone until I was 40 years old. Hell, I mean, and your generation has been raised on that kind of stuff. I haven't. So there's a lot for me to learn. When it comes to raising children, schools were different. I remember bringing a gun to school for show and tell. My first gun. I actually, and it was interesting. I could buy it at 14 with the signature of a parent, or at 16 by myself, but I didn't want to wait 2 years. So I brought my dad with me, and I bought my first rifle at 14 years old. And I was so excited about it. And my dad had a gun cleaning kit, you know, the rod and the rags and the oil and all that different stuff. And I remember bringing it to school and taking it apart during the show and tell day, and it was respected. I come from a day when you walk down the train tracks with a gun slinging over your shoulder, and a cop comes up to you and says, "Where you going, son?" I said, "I'm doing some target shooting down at the little ravine over here." And he goes, "What you got?" And I said, "Well, it's a 22." And he says, what are your targets going to be? And I says, "Well, I have my mom save up all the tin cans, and that's what's in the sack here." And he says, "Well, I might be swinging by a little bit later to see how you doing." He goes, "You going to be there all afternoon?" I said, "Yeah, I think all afternoon. I got about 100 cans." And he says, "All right, well, have fun and be safe." His exact words, "Have fun and be safe." And he kept driving. A young man with a rifle over his shoulder walking down the train tracks. Now, what if that happened today? Okay, that shows you the kind of world that I grew up in. So I remember the cop coming down, and I'm just sitting there in the prone position, and I'm firing, and he's just sitting there going, "All right, you're doing pretty good. They're a little to the left there. There's a little bit of a wind," and he's kind of like guiding me as I'm, and he's like, "You're pretty good for a young guy." Like, you don't see police talking that way to young men with guns anymore, that type of thing. So that's one of the areas that I can prove that it was a different world.
George, if you don't have a video of it on your iPhone, it didn't happen.
Then it didn't happen, exactly. Well, that reminds me of that one meme. It shows a girl getting eaten by a shark, and she's got like the video up there, like, "Hey, mom, look at me!" Like Jaws is getting ready to chop me in half, Or if like the Titanic sunk today, all these people on life rafts holding up their phones.
Yeah, insanity.
Yep.
You know what's interesting about that is when you look at it, I'm sitting here like thinking of that world. And then I'm thinking of those who were in that world, and that's where your foundation of self was pretty much developed and how you're going to live your life. And then you look at our world now. When Jeff was describing the event, he said, "This is going to help you operate at your best and to be an excellent man today with what's going on today." And so with many, they go into this and they're like, "I had this great system pre 9/11. Well, things never went back to normal after post 9/11, pre-COVID. Now we're living in post-COVID, pre-internet, pre-chat BT, all these things. And we're always looking back. We're looking right now to connect with the cutting edge techniques that are helping families, not just computers go faster, the cutting edge techniques to connecting with your children, the issues they're going to face, your marriage, what's coming down the pipeline, what kind of messages are being sent to the family. When you look at the advertisements and what's going on with regards to health, they're pumping a lot of nonsense out there. And here we are. We have several medical doctors. We have therapists. We have men who they don't fit in with the do as I say, conform to me system and business that's out there. That's the healthcare model. We have individuals who are free, they're sovereign, and they're sharing that message within FOE. Hey, today we've got to change because the message we're using there doesn't work anymore. We're always updating our system from parenting to marriage to healthcare to lifts to everything to making money. All of these areas are changing and adapting with the times. It's one of our greatest strengths is that when something doesn't work anymore, we discard it. But we don't just throw it in the trash as a secret. We go to the group, "Hey, men, I tried to do this because it's worked my whole career. It's not working anymore. So now I'm going to go do that." And then the other guy's like, "Oh, because you had that result, you knew that this was the item to change. I have to change a different part of my system, but it's the same approach that you took." And so it's helping these men understand what worked then may not work now. The principle might, But how do you apply that principle with today's age? That puzzle piece you had, you got to like snip it, and now it fits back in the picture. But those pieces, they're no longer needed, or you've got to go back to what worked then and bring that back and find how that fits in 2023 and beyond. So when you look at the mission of excellence, that's one of the things I really liked his description there, and it's because it hit me like right in the face like a 2x4. I was like, oh, damn. I didn't even realize how quickly we're doing this, but we adapt extremely fast to the point where it's my new normal. I'm used to changing my opinion on things. I'm used to adding and subtracting behaviors and habits from my life because I'm learning at a very quick rate with other men from across the globe through their experiences. So when you fail, I don't have to fall in the hole you fell in. You're going to share with me that there's a hole there and I get to skip it. And when I fall in a hole, I'm going to tell you, so now you don't fall in that one. If we keep telling each other, it just speeds up all of our growth.
Yeah. All right. So I have two questions. What are some of the topics that will be covered? I know we have parenting for one. Steve Maeda might be talking about life. I'm guessing that we talk like life after divorce and parenting after divorce. What are some other topics that are going to be talked about during the day?
Some of the topics are yet to be finalized. My topic will most likely integrate some financial things, some lessons I've learned operating as an investor, but then also tying in the last number of years, joined FOE in 2019, and I used to have some insecurity, and I like to touch on how I completely overcame that. And it was hard work, and I dug in. But again, like it just touched on what you're talking about. I was looking in the chat, and I'm like, that guy's 57, you're 63. Another guy says he's 25, but we're all living in 2023. And people like to wax nostalgic about, I wish it was the 1950s and it was a better time. And I get what they're saying. I do. But we're in 2023 right now. So maybe because it isn't 1950 in the time you wanted, maybe those parenting skills are even more important to learn today. So we're going to be talking about actionable things for 2023. I'll mention finance and overcoming insecurity. I know Jerry will probably have a faith-based approach about how he's risen up with his fitness and getting his book out there, lessons learned from his father, mental toughness. I know we brought you on board because we wanted to show the world how serious this is, how professional we take it. We wanted to present it in a way that shows we mean business. So, everyone's bringing their own thing to it. And when you come together, there will be something to take from everyone.
Yeah. No, I would say, so I've been with the same woman now for almost 3 decades. I have 3 grown children. So obviously I'm going to be speaking about how to pick up women and be a single man, right? This is what I'm going to focus on. No, but all jokes aside, one thing that and I want to point this out, one thing that I've learned with being in the fraternity, I joined 4 years ago, is I spent a good part of my life with a victim mindset, thinking that I had no control over my life, that everything that happened to me was because of that's just how life is. And the moment I started to surround myself with better men is when I started to grow. I started to see the world as I can go out and do whatever I want. There is nothing holding me back but myself. And that's what I want guys to, who they come to this event, they hear us talk, whether it's parenting, finance, marriage, self-help. We have a very diverse group of speakers that are going to be adding a lot of value to different areas of our lives. And I just want to make sure that all the men, anybody who attends, that they leave here understanding that their life is in their control, that they can go out and they can do whatever they want. There's no set plan. You go out, you conquer, and you take what is yours. You believe that you have the confidence to go and build your life at any age. I don't care if you're 60 or if you're 20. You have to go out and you have to fight for creating that life that you want. That's what happened to me in the Fraternity of Excellence. That's why I'm here now today talking.
Looking at these men, I've watched their growth. Both came in as members, and I watched them grow within this community. And I've learned so much from them as well. And the one thing that I can bring, and I know I can uniquely bring, is my skill set and ability to take and apply and to just disregard all of the things that are meant to hold you back. There are a lot of individuals who have a lot of reasons that could be justified to their failure to perform. I have those as well, but have found a way to override that system in my mind. And I can help others do the same. So when we talk about the immediate application, Higgins brought this up earlier. That's where I'm going with this. How can you immediately apply why you're here? You are here for this. I'm going to show you and tell you and let you see how I take it and apply it and just watch my life improve because of it. I don't care all the reasons why you should be failing, why you got to where you are, what brought you down. I'm going to help you override that circuit and turn those anchors into fuel. Those things that you see, and again, I'm quoting this from you, another man I've learned from, George. These flaws that you think are meant to bring you down and make you bad, and you should hide. Those are your features. Those are the exact things you should bring to the forefront of the discussion, because that's what makes you uniquely you. If I had, and I tell this to Anthony and Jeff quite a bit, but on a different timeline, I'm a fitness guy. I'm a finance guy. I'm a crypto guy. I'm a politician guy. No, I'm a family guy because of what happened and just kind of where I came from. I chose this path. And so that's what turned me into me. That makes me uniquely me. So when I share the things I've overcome, they're the source of that's the fuel. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. And so these men too, they can find that same way to be like, you know what? I'm done feeling bad about who I am. I'm going to start being a good dude. And yeah, that stuff happened. That's exactly why I'm such a strong dude, because I can sit here. You caught myself there. I can sit here. I can look myself in the mirror. And for once in my life, I can say I'm proud of what's looking back at me. And so here's how I'm going to take that to the next level. And so my hope is to help them understand the opportunity they have at this event, at the summit. This is that point where they could look back and be like, that changed my life. That moment right there, going there, I finally let go. I let go of that because you're holding onto the rock because it's painful, but it's safe. But you let go and you're scared of that sea. But once you're out there and you start swimming, you're like, it's not that bad. This is okay. I can find my way to shore now. But if you hang on the rock, you're just going to exhaust yourself till eventually it pulls you away and you drown. But if you can let go while you still have strength, and going to an event like this is having strength, you're now in the water, getting your bearing, and you can swim to shore. And shore in this sense is you living your best life.
It's funny, right? So this day called the Mission of Excellence is put on by the Fraternity of Excellence, which is a group that men can join. The cost for the day is $3.99, did you say? And with the promo code Bruno 2023, it'll bring it down to knock it down $50. What's funny about that is any of us who've ever had an attorney fees start at $300, $350, $400, and you're getting a whole day of help to reinforce you as a man for what cost what an attorney charges for 1 hour worth of work, which I can appreciate. That. I've spent enough money on attorneys through divorce and such. But what kind of man is this best for? I see married men, single men, divorced men, men who are just legally separated, who are heading towards divorce. It sounds like this day is going to be for those men.
Well, when you look at it, George, when I hear that, I think of FOE. We have married men, single men, men headed towards divorce, men trying to come out, men looking to avoid the divorce they're headed towards. So in this event, when I hear what you were saying about the main thing that comes to my mind is whatever man wants to be the best in the scenario they're in, that man. If you're getting divorced and you want to navigate that as well as possible, so you're not one of those statistics that end up zeroed out or you just hate life or you become nihilistic about everything, well, we're the men that can help you find that. This is the summit that can help you make sure that if you're cruising down, the plane doesn't crash, but it coasts, and then you can get off it. You're newly married, then we're the men that are going to help you set yourself up to not making the mistakes or letting that complacency creep in. You're single, then what do you want? Do you want a family? We can help you there. You don't want a family? That's fine too. We can help you with your mission. So every single man that comes to me, I don't need you to be like me at all. You don't need to justify my life choices. I wanted the family. I wanted the marriage. I wanted this, but I want to be my best self in doing this. Each of these men will help you be your best in whatever it is you want to do. So there might be men who are obese that see Higgins, that dude's jacked, I want to be like him, and they come for that reason alone. And it's like, I'm not here for any of this stuff, but I guarantee you by walking in those doors, other parts of their life will improve. Because we're going at this with a whole view as to what does a man of excellence look like. That's our primary focus, the fraternity. What does living with excellence in every area of your life look like? And it doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't matter your sexual preference. It doesn't matter your skin color. Nothing matters except the mindset you have as to where do you want to go. And for some, we might have men attend this who don't know that. And to me, those are the best discussions because you get to help that man find out what really gets you going, man. Like, what is that thing? And let us help you start the process of beginning the journey towards actually actualizing it and embodying those morals and values that you have. And so it's such a political answer. Everybody's welcome. And it comes across as anybody can buy a ticket. Come on in. We're welcoming everybody. Come on in. But the reality is we're not welcoming everybody in. We're welcoming in the men who are ready and wanting to invest in their growth to get to where they want to go, whomever that is.
So a guy obviously can come by himself. If a dude wants to bring a girlfriend or a wife along, he can do that. It's $3.99 a person, no matter who buys the ticket. It starts at what time in the morning?
Right now, it's slated to go from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, excellent. And it's going to be at a hotel, and at a hotel where people will also be staying at.
That is up to them. We encourage you to stay there because we'll have more interaction. Right now, it is at the Hilton Garden Inn, which is 5 minutes from Charlotte Airport. Very convenient airport to get to. And that is where it is booked for.
So guys will fly in or drive in on, let's say, Friday afternoon, check in, spend the night, have dinner, have some fellowship with some other guys, get a decent night's sleep, be up on Saturday morning, have some breakfast, and then it starts at 10 a.m. Okay. And then probably, so most guys who come will probably end up staying 2 nights at the hotel and then fly out on Sunday, I would imagine. Is that correct?
I'm definitely looking to interact with people Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then I'll probably head home Sunday night.
Excellent. Excellent.
100%.
And why Charlotte? Tell me why.
Charlotte's centrally located. It's easy to get to, and it is also the area where we have the most members in FOE live. So we have some meetups in Charlotte, and it seemed like the right place. It feels a little bit like home, even though I live in Florida, nowhere near Charlotte. I like Charlotte. Easy to get to.
Simple answer, George, is we run shit in Charlotte.
Looking at the chat, there was
Good
30-day
location.
reviews. He was saying this isn't something you'd want to bring the ladies to. And that's a good point because I understand the messaging there. But the one thing that I want to stress here is we're looking to do this publicly. We're looking to be men who admit we need help in certain areas publicly. We're not looking to have underground discussions where it's men only and it's like the secret society. I want to be able to walk in front of anywhere, speak like a man about my truth, and not have any hesitation that a woman's watching me or not. Like I don't care. I'm a man looking to get help. If somebody else's wife is in the audience, I'm still going to be able to speak my truth. And that message will be sent. And anybody who attends will have a clear understanding, especially after this, that when you attend this is for men that are showing up to learn from other men how to be their best selves and live a life of excellence. There's no secret to that. There's nothing to be hidden about that. We shouldn't be blurring any faces or having to mute any discussions or break the women out of the room. We don't need to do that. What we need to do is go there and speak truth. We need to go there and just be men who are comfortable being men. There's nothing wrong, dirty, not appropriate about this message. It's legit for the men who want to go there. And now if a man has a very sensitive subject he wants to have, well, then you go and you ask that other man in private, and that's what I was saying about the private discussions happening off stage. If you've got something extremely personal where you raise your hand and then you have that discussion behind closed doors, or you're like, hey, Zach, can I talk to you about this? It's not appropriate for the whole group. There are many conversations that men wouldn't want to have in front of other men. And so I don't see the women being in the audience as any sort of limiting factor to this. And honestly, a man who can bring a lady or his lady to an event like this and speak his truth and say, I'm here because I want to get better, man, that's a strong marriage. I'm here to get better. Like, I want to crush. Hey, lady, come on. We're going to make it an event. We're going to hang out in Charlotte. We're going to do our thing. I'm going to hang out with these dudes, learn from them. Like, I roll with men of excellence. That's why I'm here. And so to me, like, my wife's going. Jackie will be there. She'll see all of us on stage. I'll introduce her around. And she's like, cool. Like, my husband rolls with these big dogs looking to help all these men. Or cool. Look at all these men looking to grow and looking to be better men. Like, what a great world we live in. So it's inspirational for her as well.
I actually think it depends a little bit on where you're at, to be honest with you. Like, if you're just starting out and you might feel weird about I'm going to a self-improvement conference. Eventually, you will get to the point where you stop caring about that. But if you're not there yet and you would feel more comfortable coming alone, I get that. And it's important to start. So if that's your first step, take that first step. And know in, 6 months, a couple years, however long it takes, I used to care about that stuff. And now I don't care at all. Like,
Now you're here doing this.
Yeah, now we're here.
No, and I'm glad you said that, Zach, because it, and even what you were saying, Jeff, right? Every man has to live his own life and do what he thinks is best. We don't have control over that, but we have control over this conference, what we're doing at the summit, and we're not in the shadows. We're going to be upfront. We're going to be in your face. We're going to be talking about things that we believe in, that we're passionate about. We're going to be speaking our truth. And I am tired. I'm sick of seeing all the nonsense prior, like Zach was saying, hiding in the basement, blurred faces, not being confident enough to show the world what you stand for. I think that's what we're bringing to this arena. That's what we're bringing to the game. And it hasn't happened before. There's not many men who are going to be willing to get on stage and talk about how they live their life, why they do it, who they are, what they believe in, without any fear of judgment, right? I'm going there, and I don't want people to dislike me. I genuinely don't, but I have the courage to be disliked. I don't care what people think. I have to go out there and I have to tell the world what it is I believe. Otherwise, we do a disservice to everybody, every other man who needs to find that fire and passion in his soul. So that's what the conference is about, man. This is what we have to bring. We have to bring it to the next level.
I want to let you in on the inside joke. So, and this actually will speak to the growth this will speak to the growth that we've experienced as well. We often speak to, as subject matter experts, that we've got it all dialed in and we're working on this. We're going to help you get there. I think it was 2018, maybe 2020. We had a Fraternity of Excellence event and we were doing all these things. And we were speaking to the fact that a few of the men hadn't spoken to their wife about FOE. And then a few of the photos that came out, they didn't want their faces in it. So we blurred their faces because being a part of that group could be seen as like a negative in the corporate world. And so it became a running joke that I'm like, man, like we do such good things. Why are we hiding ourselves? And so in this last event, or actually 2 events ago, I made the statement. I'm like, I want the Fraternity of Excellence to stop being hidden. I want you to tell your wife about this and tell me how that plays out. I want you to go tell your job you're a part of this. Put this on your LinkedIn. I was like, what are we hiding here within the fraternity? That men are working to be better husbands, fathers, and better men? Are we concerned that the PC police are going to come and get us? What will they say if they learn that you're working to be a better man in a better financial position with a stronger body? And so the blurred faces is kind of like a benchmark for Anthony and I, where we were talking like never again. We will never have to hide this again. We are proud of the fraternity. We are proud of what we built. The men within our walls are proud to go out there and let the world see I'm a man of excellence. I roll with this community because it makes me a better man. The network there, again, keeps me on the cutting edge of every aspect of life. So I'm not a man built for the 1950s. I'm a man built for life. The years regardless, I'm keeping up and tuning myself up. So that was kind of the inside joke there, that even us, men focused on being our best, who have it dialed in, we've got to step back every now and then and say, why are we doing what we're doing? Are we hiding too? Are we living this message? And so again, the whole blurred faces, never again. We're out there and the men they're behind it. These men are proud. You see it on Facebook. Several of the men's wives, after this last event we ran, we did a Tough Mudder and a football game and just some cigars and good time camaraderie. Their wives, they saw the race and they saw all of us interacting. Some of the best damn testimonials I've ever seen. They're like, my husband is a part of FOE. And I was like, think about that. These wives are like, I'm proud of FOE. Obviously you can tell. It makes me happy to be a part of something that's impacting families this way.
Well, this has been fun. This is what I want to do. So here we have several months before October. I would love to be able to do this with this panel of guys once a month until October. We'll collaborate and figure out when we're going to do it. But this is how I'd like to do it. I'd like to also talk about some of the topics that we're going to talk about in October, but also do a hot seat. So we'll bring on maybe one of my followers, one of your followers who has a question. And then the 4 of us in hot seat fashion will solve that problem for that one person during the call. So we might do maybe 3 or 4 hot seats during our hour together. So would you guys be into that?
Oh,
Yeah, that'd be
Definitely.
awesome.
Yes, sir.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That way, we're kind of taking it to the streets and such, and showing men that there's going to be solutions here. All right, so it's going to be October 13th,
14th Saturday.
October 14th, Charlotte, North Carolina. That's a Saturday. You fly in or drive in on a Friday. The event's on a Saturday. You fly or drive out on a Sunday. Are there restaurants in the hotel there?
There is. There's a restaurant in the hotel, and 5 minutes from the airport. There's a great district. It's very conveniently located for everything.
So if a person comes in, they can just park their car. They don't have to leave the facility if they don't want to. Everything is kind of right there.
We'll
That's
carry
correct.
them around if they want.
There's a lot of free parking too. So that's good.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Anything else? Any last words? We'll start with Anthony. Any last words?
No, man, I'm excited. I think this is going to be great. This is something I'm extremely proud to be a part of, and I can't wait for it to happen. I can't wait to go on stage, share my truth, speak my message, have my brothers around me, have the attendees there. I think it's going to be an awesome time, and highly encourage anybody who is looking to improve their life, become a better man, right? Sign up, get involved, and I look forward to meeting you and seeing you there.
Likewise with Anthony, incredibly excited for the event, and we're not hard to find. If you go on Twitter, Zach Small, Anthony, myself, just if you have any questions, shoot a DM and I'll get right back to you.
We've done this, George, like I said, we've done this dance, we've done this game, we've gone out there, and it never gets old. Each time there's another fire. Who am I going to meet? What are we going to talk about? Like, it's a great experience, but this one is something special because this is something that comes from a place of just pure good. And I'm really appreciative to Jeff. Like I said, this was his idea, and then Anthony and I, when we heard it, it was just such a clear yes, like such an obvious good thing to do and to bring, and like, let's run with this. And like I said, my daughter came in here. She got home from school, gave me a big hug. My family's going to be there. Like, so I'm so proud to be showing this and bringing this to the masses. But the men that are there, I'm starting to get that feeling that we always get. Who am I going to talk to? What are we going to talk about? What man is going to attend this and he's going to hit me up and be like, dude, look what I did. I hit that weight loss goal, money making goal. Look at my physique. My marriage is better. Look at the relationship with my kids. That is the payoff to all of these things that we do. I love that. It's a great time. Tex is in the chat. He's going to be there. So it's going to be a great time with great men. But I look forward to what happens after it. And so it's just my brain is already on. I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to speak. I can't wait to see the product of this. I know it's going to be great. And now from here to there, we've just got to let people know it's happening. And so, George, thank you for facilitating this discussion with your audience, because I'm really looking forward to connecting with those who make it there, because that's where the real growth is had. That's where men will find, screw it. I am going to show up in person. I'm going to shake some hands. I'm going to stop doing this thing of just talking online. I'm actually going to dedicate some resources to it, time, money, energy. But the takeaway from that is like, I know those guys, and so that's the beautiful thing about this entire panel. Through and through, we are who we are. We go out there, we live this every day. And so I'm looking forward to connecting with those before and after, because then you'll get to see that story and build that bond even further than just the moments that we have on that Saturday.
Excellent. Well, during 2023, I'm going to a total of 6 conferences. And this is the one that I'm actually going to be part of, the planning and such, and be speaking as well. The other 5, I'm going to be an attendee, which is pretty rare for me as I'm getting older. I'm so used to being on stage and being a presenter for decades now. Just sitting in an audience is kind of fun. So, but the next time that we all get together, I want us to talk about what differentiates this conference from all the other conferences. There's so many that are out there. Many of us have been to many other conferences. So I want you to think about what differentiates this from other conferences, without even mentioning other conferences' names or other people or anything like that. Why would someone want to go here? So we'll talk about that the next time. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And my audience thanks you.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.